in Podcast Detroit, recording live. Prepare yourself for a hoppy drive. If you're chilling at home, pop that crowler and just kick back for the next 2 hours. It's the end of the week, so here's to the weekend. It's Better on Draft with Rob, Matt, Nick, and Ken.
And we are live, episode 158 of the Better on Draft podcast. There we go.
7 past. Oh wow, that was a little loud there. 7 past the 151.
Yeah, 7 past. You know what? I should have. I have 151 at home. I should have brought it for that show. 151.
Horrible.
I think the next like numbered event we're gonna have to do is like
200.
240. So then we have 240s. And then we can play.
Maybe we can get a.
We can't take a break until we drink our 40s.
That was called something different when I was in college.
Edward 40 hands. Well, I didn't say tape them to our hands. I just said we can't take a break until we finish that.
I was the champion.
Sounds like a really bad idea.
Like the volume drinking is fine for me, but it's definitely like when it gets to drinking from a bottle, that volume, all that extra air you're taking in.
We just better make sure we don't have any guests that week because you know what's going to happen. They're going to bring stuff on for us to try while we try and kill our 40s that day.
I mean, I just don't.
It's just going to be bad.
We've got 2 years to plan this. We're okay.
I think we got a little over 80 episodes to go to get there.
Nick, what are you drinking over there?
I got a lot going on over here. I got pretzels. That doesn't count as a drink though. I got the Hazel's Nuts from Odd Side. That's this year's. I got something I brought from home because I actually found out that I passed my last class with an A. Yeah,
nice. Mr. Graduate.
Mr. Graduate. I got so happens it's Tuesday from the brewery. That's last year's, so that's been sitting for a special occasion, I guess you can call it. And then this thing that Matt brought in, it's the Guinness Stout aged in bullet bourbon barrels. And I have not drank that yet.
All right.
So we got a lot going on here already.
We do have a lot going on. Matt, welcome back into. Hold on, because you changed mics that I planned on you being on.
Damn it, Matthew!
7, you're on 5. There we go.
I want to be by Kaylan.
Yay!
Well, you don't want to be by me, huh?
God, I can hear you from yesterday.
What a prick!
Wow.
Am I wrong?
I mean,
jerk.
No.
So,
Don't encourage him.
as Michael Jackson would say, Shimone.
So, Matt, what are you drinking over there? Diet Vernors, as always.
Yep, per usual. A little bit of PBR to cleanse the palate. And then I brought a Shimone from the Kettle Sour Niepa New England IPA from Oddside. I acquired this also with Mr. Zatuna at Zatuna Liquor Store in Rochester Hills, Michigan.
That's where you got the Guinness.
I got the Guinness barrel aged as well.
Yep. And that's where you got it from Zatuna. Right?
I'm bringing it up right now because I definitely want to see what this tastes like. Because
The Shimone or the Bullet?
The Bullet. Yeah.
The Bullet. Yeah, it was $1 million wound.
God, that's so smooth.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you like it.
Oh wow.
Oh my gosh. And our guest here today, all the way from Founders Brewing, the Lansing rep, Kaylan, return guest. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
In your new gig.
My new gig. Super exciting.
How has it been since you've moved away from the beer industry and actually back into the beer industry?
I never knew how much I was going to miss the beer industry until I left it.
Okay.
I was working a job at a clinic, and I was clocking in and out every day and going home and wondering why my phone wasn't ringing. And I'd go out to bars and restaurants, and they weren't nearly as excited to see me.
They no longer knew your name?
No, I was not known by name at every bar in town anymore, and I was only out of the game for 6 months, and then Founders said they'd take me.
Wow.
That seems so
they brought me
I
in.
guess they'll take me.
Right? I just kept showing up on their porch, and yeah.
It's like, okay, we'll bring you in.
Exactly. Someone had to take me.
So
I think we need. You guys watch SNL?
Yes.
You know they have like a 5-timers jacket.
Yeah.
5-timers jacket.
I think we're getting to the point where certain guests are needing like noteworthy apparel.
Yes.
Maybe we start with like socks.
Why not a
or
5-timers jacket for
or just like a headband?
5
That way,
timers
because I mean, in our medium, if she were to wear a smoking jacket with a big number 5 on it, that might not play. But if she were to wear like a headband that's with a big number 5 on it, I think that would show a little bit better.
Yeah, I think some 3-timer headband would be great, but I'll just come back 2 more times and earn the $5.
Yeah.
I don't even think we have anyone that's at 5. I think
I was
we
actually
have a handful of 3s.
I actually did a full list up not too long ago in regards to all of our guests, just
the
to
other
see-
day, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, just to see where they were. So we actually have like a number based on how many people. So obviously, I think Kevin DeGrid's up there, Pipe and Brock's up there.
It'd be Eric and
Breaking
John,
in.
right? Would be. I think they're if they're not 3 or if they're not 4, they're definitely 3-timers.
Yes.
3-time.
So-
3-time.
Dan Riley is actually after his appearance on last week. Was it last week?
2 weeks ago.
So that was Dan Riley's 5th appearance.
Oh wow.
Oh, damn.
Pipe and Brock's been on 5 times.
Really?
Travis has been on 4 times.
Okay.
And we have North Centers, but Kevin's only been on 3 times.
And
So,
Kaylan's now. This is her third time.
This is her third
All right,
time. So
flip
there we
up there.
go.
Nick the Brewer was the 2 or 3
just
times?
once.
Twice.
No, twice.
He came
Twice?
on with
Okay.
Unity Vibration.
Yeah, I know that was the one time that I thought he was on.
No, he was
No,
on
he was on
another time.
before that.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
He came on with as Black Lotus.
Yep, just as
prior,
Black Lotus.
Yeah, prior to that.
So back to Founders.
Yes.
They have a big release coming up soon. Mm-hmm. Tell me about it, because it's been 4 years in the making for a lot of people.
Yes, it is one of my all-time favorites. Blushing Monk is coming back the second week in January. That is our Belgian raspberry.
And that's coming second week of January, all new batch.
Yes.
So it's not like a re-release or an age release or anything like that.
All new batch, 9.2% ABV, and it's only in 4-pack bottles. So now you can have one, share one, age one, whatever you would like to do. So it's not going to be in the 750s.
So I went to a friend's house for the Michigan State football game, and he
which
had
one? Recently?
Yeah, this was this year. So he had not drank the entire time his wife was pregnant,
Oh, wow.
but he still bought the beer during releases and stuff and just stocked it and stocked it and stocked it. So I walk in and I see years of Plead the Fifth, Dark Lord, Variants, Bourbon County. I have pretty much every single in the barrel age list of Founders, DKML, and I see the Blushing Monk. And he said, anything you want, you can have. And I go and I reach the Blushing Monk, the very first thing I go for. And he goes, except for that. And I'm like, really?
Do you think you would have said that regardless of what you reached for?
No, because it's his wife's favorite beer. Therefore, that was, you can pour me a little glass of the New England IPA. It was his wife's favorite beer, which is why
It's the kettle sour.
he told me that was a no. But I actually told him today that they were re-releasing it. And he was like asking me everything about it. So I think he's going to go to the Ale Mary's release on the 9th of January. So that's definitely not your area. Do you guys have a Blushing Monk release going out in Lansing? Any big bars?
I don't have any scheduled yet.
Yeah.
Oh, what a slacker.
I know.
Jeez.
I know.
How long have you been with Founders?
2 months, just over 2 months.
Just started.
Just starting.
I would say time flies, but it feels like you've been there for a long time.
I know it. I think it's just where I belonged. So that's why it seems like I've been there forever.
Do you ever catch like other reps telling you how to do things and you're like, no, I've been doing this a while. I know.
Oh, no, other reps know better than to tell me how to do my job. It's the OGs who spend all their time sitting at a bar who like to tell me how to do my job. Like, oh, your husband must be a brewer. Let's talk about what you don't know.
Oh, boy.
But no, it's never
Oh,
other reps.
I think
it's
you have
bar owners and
I want to hear a story. I want you to tell me your most like wanted to smack a bitch story. If you
I'm
could.
sure she has many of them.
daily. I work in sales.
That was me.
What?
Sorry.
So, like, what are you doing?
Well, okay, so
I heard an echo.
I guess maybe you can give us like the most recent story where your eyes audibly rolled into the back of your head and you like had to restrain yourself from like maybe not losing an account.
Oh, I told someone, I was like, oh, I'm your new founders rep. And they're like, oh, I guess if I were a cute girl, I could get a job selling beer too.
Isn't that kind of like a compliment though as well?
Man.
No, you're telling someone that they didn't get the job on their merit, that I just got it because I got a cute face.
Well, they did call you cute, so
Okay, well,
Oh, boy.
yeah, it didn't go well.
I mean, are we still at that point still? Where we're
were you not here last week?
Yeah, I was here last week.
Steven did a whole.
I know, but
30
we
minutes.
still, that's the kind of conversation that we need to have. That's what makes this show the show. Is we have to have those kinds of conversations.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's obviously not just in the beer world. It's everywhere. Also, by the way, Angela thinks that we should just get all of our 5-timers buttons.
Buttons, a 5-timer.
A 5-timer button as opposed to a jacket or a
Okay. I'm for buttons, but I still want a repeat guest headband and then buttons that you put on every additional time you come. So you have like a crown of Better on Draft.
Like a 5-timer button, a
No,
6-timer.
it'll say Better on Draft, repeat guest on the front, like when Jim McMahon had the Roselle headband.
Yeah.
And then you gave your 3, your 4, your 5 across the head skull.
So
I want badges for my vest, like when I was a Girl Scout.
But it doesn't show because you're sitting.
Oh, okay, true.
That's my only issue. Is we're in the sitting posture. We're an audio medium. We only have like 2 cameras, 3 maybe on a good day.
3. You got me over here.
Oh, I can.
I'm on camera today.
you got your own nice little corner in the.
I do.
Facebook
There's only 2 cameras, so I have to use
Yeah,
like the
I know.
webcam camera to make me feel important because I want everyone to know that I'm part of the show. You can hear my voice, but now you can see my face.
So what? Founder's been around forever.
20
20 years.
21 years.
21. Okay, so they can legally drink now.
Yes, they can.
I don't want to. How do you keep an old brand like that relevant in today's
ever changing, very fast growing.
I was going to say nano brewery diarrhea society,
Well-
where they just keep coming out.
Well, you could throw that in there too because we're pushing what 400, 350, 350, 400 right now.
We're in that
Somewhere
bubble.
in there.
So, how do you keep a brand that's as old? It's successful. Obviously, it's been around that long. How do you keep, the brand on tap when everybody always wants the newest, hottest, youngest, nichest beer?
I think Founder stays on tap because they make a quality product, a consistent product, and they gained their popularity because they weren't just making the beer that everybody wanted. They made the beer that they knew that they wanted to drink. They almost, lost their ass because they were making the beer they thought the people wanted, and so they were actually getting foreclosed on. And they ended up making one more beer. They knew they didn't think it was going to save them, but they wanted to make one more beer, and they wanted to make the beer that they liked, and it ended up being the Dirty Bastard, and they named it that because they didn't think they'd ever have to worry about the name. They didn't think it would ever have to get distributed or get approved. So they made that beer, and it ended up saving Founders was the Dirty Bastard. And they just make a consistent beer, and they'll never make a New England IPA. They'll never make a sour. They make the beer that they want to make, and they do it really well.
I guess my question, though, getting back to that, what keeps Founders relevant? We know that, All Day IPA is constantly rated one of the best beers in America. Michigan, if not America. Yeah. You guys have an amazing barrel program, and we're looking at CBS right now. I guess the Mountie got kicked off the horse.
They did, yeah. Canada didn't like the Mountie. But.
Really?
Yeah.
Could you just change the color of the jacket?
Oh, I guess.
You could have made it
But you can't call it Canadian breakfast at that point.
Yeah, but
sure you
nobody knows it's Canadian. Everyone knows it's CBS.
Yeah.
Like the
right,
acronym
yeah.
has overtaken the name of the beer itself.
Sure. Yeah. That's what it was called prior to it. Before it became synonymous with just the CBS, wasn't it? It was Canadian breakfast stout.
So
I'm sure there's a handful of people that still call it that.
I guess maybe the best way to ask the question is, what's the newest staple to the lineup? Because everyone knows All Day, everyone knows CBS, KBS, just BS, your barrel program. You got that Starship, the Backwards Bastard, the Dirty Bastard, the Rubaeus. What's the new thing that is really flying?
Solid Gold, the new
Yes.
lager, just
Yep.
launched in the spring. And I think people wanted something light and easy to drink, and it's still a local craft. So Solid Gold is a really great selling product for us.
And it's kind of like in my mind, that's probably the beer that you try and get new craft beer drinkers into when they come to a facility, either one of the tap rooms, either in Grand Rapids or in Detroit, or a bar that might have it on tap. Is that what you kind of direct your clients to? Damn it, Ken!
That wasn't me. That was Matt.
Or was that
this time.
Matthew?
Yeah, it's like a gateway
I'm getting
beer.
trolled on the book of faces.
Right.
It's a gateway
It's
beer.
a gateway beer.
Yeah.
I mean, and we saw a number of other breweries in Michigan do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just Founders. We're drinking some of their beers tonight, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, besides that, I mean, you guys obviously I see another one, the Mothership series. That's is that something that is that seasonal? Is that something that's going to be something that's permanent? Like, what about what? I mean, because that is probably going to garner a lot of attention moving forward.
So the Mothership series is only available in our tap room, so you have to get there the day of the release. This one I brought for you guys to try today is Panther Cub. It just came out last Saturday, and it sold out in a day and a half.
My goodness.
Out of both tap rooms. And so the Mothership series is only available at the tap room.
So what is the Mothership series?
It's just stuff that comes back by popular demand, a lot of barrel aged.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is a Bliss barrel aged porter.
So this is all old stuff that's probably been brewed in the past, small batch kind of
Crowd
stuff.
favorites,
Crowd
yes.
favorites,
So,
back in GR.
Are we just going to talk about it or are we going to drink it?
Let's drink it.
You crack it open, you pass it all around, and I'll drink it.
I gotta get my keys out. I don't have a bottle opener. There we go.
Shout out to X Fermentation for the bottle opener.
I was gonna say, I think
Still
that's the
like
bottle opener on my.
70 episodes later, I'm still rocking it.
I think that's the one that I have on my keychain. I have a keychain at home of keychains, and it's all like bottle openers. It's like 15 bottle
I
openers.
still got the one from when Drafting Table was on for the very first time.
right before they opened.
Right
yes.
before they opened. It was
the
a
day
month.
before they opened.
Was it the day or was it a month before?
It was the day before.
the
they
day
opened.
before they opened.
Oh,
They
their
came
beer
here
is
on
amazing.
they came here on a Friday night, and then Saturday they opened up the tap room.
Oh wow.
So they wanted a night out to like relax before what has happened, and it's crazy just to think what has happened with them itself. I do need another glass apparently, because I am drinking very.
Ooh, that could have ended really bad.
I'm
I
sure
don't
it
think
stopped.
so.
No,
It would have been funny if it landed like on the camera, kind of like one of those
yeah, that would've been-
Carney games
I'm good at Carney
where
games.
you gotta like flick a
price
cup
here
or
for
something.
that?
I live next door to Carney's.
You get a 33-cent stuffed animal, even though you spent like $10 trying to win it.
So we're drinking Sex Panther.
Panther Cub.
Panther.
It works.
Panther Cup.
It works. It works
60% of the time.
It
It
works
works every
all
time.
the time.
So let's get some tasting notes. What are we tasting here? What is it supposed to be getting in the nose? And let's chat about this.
So it is porter aged in half bourbon, half bliss barrels, the maple syrup barrels,
Wow. Okay.
and then obviously mixed together.
Get a little smoky cut for you to taste here.
I'm getting just like a lot of confusion.
This is coming
I
from
am
someone who does not
confused
drink a
by
lot
this
darker
beer.
beer, but
I'm getting the nice maltiness, but then it's like a lighter than usual maltiness. But also then there's that flavor kapow from the bliss barrels.
yeah,
This is really good.
I like it.
it is good.
Oh
And
my
this is
God.
probably like 12% alcohol. Where are we on ABV here?
I just got it today, actually. My boss brought it to me today. So I'm like,
Here, bring this on the
8.7%. Okay.
That's not bad.
no.
I was thinking this was going to be like one of the ninja beers where it's like 15% ABV and you think you're good and then you have two of them and then bam,
You're not
the
good.
ninja's got you. Just sneaks up on you.
I would say the Great Lakes, not the Great Lakes, excuse me,
Mole.
the Flying Buffalo. Those were sneaky, scary, high ABV, but we knew
Yeah.
it and we still drank them.
Yeah. Still can't find mole anywhere.
No, I still have a bottle. Well,
No.
we're gonna have it. Were you able to partake in any of the Black Friday festivities? Whether it was like Griffin Claws, it wasn't Black Friday, but their release of all their Flying Buffaloes or Pigeon Hill, or did Founders do something for Black Friday?
We re-released KBS on Black Friday.
Re-released KBS.
So that's what I was doing on Black Friday.
Oh, fun.
Now, do you have a favorite Founders beer, like your go-to when you're at home, or is that like choosing a favorite child?
Oh no, I have a favorite child. I love the Red's rye, but it's only available on draft. But I love rye. I love that rye bite. I love Reds, and so yeah, the Red's rye is my
What was
all-time go-to.
The bar from Centerville.
The local.
The local. That was their favorite beer. And when Founders announced it was only going to be draft only, like you could just feel their heart shatter because they wanted to drink it at home because then they'd have to they could only go to the bar to get it. because the bar that they own.
Not that far from Grand Rapids, are they?
They aren't, but still, you
mean,
would
it's
only
an
be
hour
able to
and a
get it
half.
on draft.
I know, but
Yeah, it's in the middle
buy
of
a keg
nowhere.
for yourselves at home. I'm sure Founders will hook them up.
I don't know about that.
For the five people. I mean, that would be a great place for solid gold. I mean, they
Yeah,
said,
it would. It would.
Well, you know what would be a great place for solid gold would be Three Nicks Scoreboard over in Allen Park, because that is such the crazy end of spectrums that you get.
that is the dot in the Venn diagram.
Yeah.
For Nick's scoreboard.
I did an event there. I did a lunchtime event there.
a
on
lunchtime, so we
Friday.
know what you saw.
Oh yeah, they were so excited to have a female rep come in on a bikini lunch day.
Are there
tried to
non-bikini
get-
lunch days at Three Nicks?
I don't think so. I think
I
it's
was
only
gonna
lunch
say,
Yeah,
days, yeah.
I
I don't think
so.
Sundays there.
I've only
But
seen like
I got there at 11:30, and the parking lot was packed. I didn't have a seat in the bar yet at 11:30, and the women are gorgeous, and they know their beer, and it was awesome.
I mean, you obviously got the Ford crowd. You got the Detroit Lions crowd. I'm sure.
you've got just a weird crowd.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I still can't wrap around my mind the fact that Three Nicks Scoreboard, it looks like a hole in the wall from the outside. You go inside.
And the
It's still
inside
a
does
hole
too.
in the wall.
It's still a hole in the wall.
It looks like it from the inside.
But Nick and Nicole, and Ryan, thank you. They just made that place to what it is today.
Yeah, it's an experience. Let's just put it that way.
It
like
is an experience.
If for some reason you're ever accidentally downriver, go check it out and just see what downriver's all about, and then you can immediately stop, get your penicillin vaccines, and then go home.
Penicillin vaccine.
Oh, it was fine.
It's not.
I just have an issue. I don't know what it is, but like once you get south of 4th Street, just call it Ohio. Let's forget about those people.
That's horrible.
Let's just-
Can we at least get down to Rockwood or something like that?
No. I'm cool with Monroe, but just south of 4th Street, just
Oh my gosh.
yeah, where those big oil things are, just Ohio it.
Okay. Let's stop ripping out.
How's the beer scene going on in Lansing? Because obviously going from a rep previously at Ellison to now Founders, are you getting into more bars than you were previously at? Because obviously Founders carries that giant name of Founders. What do you see changing over in Lansing? Because there's a lot of breweries that are going up in that area too.
Yes, finally, Lansing is getting on this craft beer bandwagon. So we opened Ellison. I helped open Ellison in 2015. Lansing Brewing Company opened right after. There were already some great breweries in town. Bad Brewing, Old Nation was 15 minutes down the road from Ellison as well. Eagle Monk, which is a small brewery on the west side. I have a mug there. He specializes in like German style beer.
Oh.
You walk in, you feel like you're at Thanksgiving dinner in your grandma's basement, sitting at a card table. But
Because you're at a card table,
it's not. Yeah, pretty much. But
scrap
the beer,
paper in the middle with a small pencil.
exactly. The
Yahtzee.
beer is solid. The couple who own it are amazing. They'll come and sit at your table and hang out with you and talk to you. And anyway,
Nice.
and now Lansing Brewing Company opened 3 weeks after Ellison did, and Arcadia Smokehouse just opened up. So now Arcadia is open downtown. And so the craft beer scene in Lansing is finally coming around. As far as moving from Ellison to Founders in the Lansing area, I had already, I'm to my own horn, I had already gotten Ellison pretty saturated in the Lansing market. And so a lot of people already recognized me from Ellison. So the only difference working for Founders is that when I walk into a new account, I don't have to explain where my brewery is. Because when I sold for Ellison, they're like, who?
Right.
Where? What? Isn't it tucked back by a river?
I was
going
gonna
to
say, yeah,
alley?
the where is definitely. I recall
Yeah.
driving by it once or twice, trying to figure out where it was.
Yep. It's definitely in a not a obviously not a main road or anything like that. It took a moment for me and a mutual friend of Ken and I to find it while we were on our way to a soccer game on a very, very hot summer day on a Sunday. But
Well, it's kind of right
but
off of M43.
it-
But
yeah,
like
it is,
You
but-
turn down and you're like, where is this, guys?
But it's I think when I think Lansing, I'm thinking it's hour and a half, 2 hours away. I don't know, whatever. But when you're on your way to Ellison and then you cut through East that portion of East Lansing, like, oh, this ain't terribly that far. far. It's
Yeah,
not,
you just look for the couch fires, right?
look for the
just,
couch
Exactly.
fire.
you just go
Yes.
south for
You
like
can
5
Well,
just
minutes.
luckily,
smoke coming
Michigan
up from
State
the
wasn't
river.
in session at the time, so I'm sure there's no couch
Isn't
fires.
isn't like The Simpsons where there's that perpetual tire pit?
They're
Very
always
similar.
they're
don't
always
know.
upset about losing to someone somewhere sometime.
So when you basically went to your old rep, the old accounts from Ellison to Founders, and you told them that you were going to be as Founders, what was their reaction? Were they surprised? Were they shocked? Were they like, no, why'd you do that? Why would you go to Founders? You know, what was their reaction? Because I'm assuming you still have a lot of the old same accounts that you had when you were at Ellison.
I do. And so when I come in, I'm like, hey, I work for Founders now. People are like, oh, and they think that there's drama there. Not because I work for Founders now, but because they assume there's drama or that I traded
okay.
Ellison
Sure.
in for a bigger hat.
Oh, I'm
But,
sorry.
oh no.
What did he do to you?
Right?
Why would you go to Evil Empire?
No, so I left Ellison when I finished a child psychology degree. So I got a job working as an ABA therapist. I was working with children with autism.
Okay.
That's what I went to school for, and I loved it. I couldn't, after 6 months, I couldn't get full time. I couldn't get benefits. And I'm almost 35 years old. That can't work for me.
Sure,
So
sure.
I started reaching back out into the beer world with some distributors and such. And actually, the owner of Ellison called me when he saw the job posting for Founders. And he made a call on my behalf and was one of my biggest advocates and references. So the owner of Ellison actually made a recommendation for me to Founders.
That's awesome.
So that's what's great about the brewery world.
We talked about the camaraderie. We talked about the partnerships. We talked about it a lot last week.
Yeah.
About the partnerships, the camaraderie, the bear being for each other. Even, at a brewery level. Now we're talking about it at an individual level, such as yourself. Where brewery owner vouches for you and gets you right back into the market all over again.
It was great.
Now I want to bring it a little bit, more local. We have a bigger audience out here. Are you involved at all in Founders Detroit?
I am not.
So you-
No, I have the Lansing area. I'm part of the West.
So what's going on at
team.
Founders Detroit? No, that just kind of didn't work out.
I got nothing.
Well, I know you've expanded here to Detroit.
Yes.
Is there planned expansion elsewhere? Do you foresee a Founders Lansing, a Founders Mackinac, a Founders Marquette?
Not that I have heard of. I haven't heard of any more plans for another tap room. The Detroit tap room just reached a year, and it's going really well. But I've not heard anything about expanding other tap rooms. I have heard more about expanding our sales force.
Okay.
But-
Does that mean more states? How many states are you in right
We're
now?
in 48 states now.
Oh, damn.
And 3 other countries.
Okay. Is that like just no Alaska, no Hawaii? Or like North Dakota just because we don't like them?
I can't recall the 2 states we are not in.
Okay.
Utah, because
Sorry.
we can't brew
I
a
was saying
beer under
probably Utah.
3.2. That still blows my mind how Epic creates beer and is in HQ in Utah. It's just such a crazy thing, especially for being in that state. Hopefully, if things change for them, obviously, I think they'll get a lot of love within the state.
And they're all big beers, too.
Well, yeah, it's not like what was it, Hop and Frog? I think where every single beer was not less than 7%. I don't understand how you can have a
The other way around.
yeah. Well, no, they don't. All their obviously the Big Bad Baptist and Baptista and all that stuff for Epic, but I don't know how you can have every beer over 7%. I think it's just too. To be honest, it's too alcoholic for me. There's so much alcohol, too much alcohol, even if that's, that is a thing. Too much alcohol. Drink responsibly, everyone.
Not on this show, because everything we have is 10% or higher.
Yeah, but we also drink responsibly.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Minus
We
when-
Uber when necessary.
We
Yeah, we do.
Well, I it took me 150 some odd episodes to finally have to take an Uber home because I definitely overindulged here in this show.
Was it the Flying Buffalo episode?
Yeah, it was the Flying Buffalo episode. What about, as much as we do have, a lot of fans here in Detroit, obviously a lot of people get to Lansing. That's the state capital. That's where Eastern Michigan, Michigan State is.
Careful now.
It's Eastern Michigan's big brother.
Yeah, I guess.
Same colors. They share a color scheme.
They do. They do. So what would you tell someone, hey, where should you go when you're, I think it's your turn that playing the show. Where would you tell people, when they're in Lansing or the Lansing area, where should they go? Where should they stop? Where should they drink? Not necessarily even for just founders, but
Shout out your top accounts.
Yeah.
Where should they go to enjoy a good beer or enjoy a good atmosphere? And not necessarily a brewery, even it could be a bar, it could be a
Right.
restaurant, good food. Like what's the life like in Lansing?
Oh man, I love Lansing so much. I was raised in the area, and I'm so happy to be, working primarily in the Lansing area. It really depends on what you're looking for. We have great hole-in-the-wall bars. I bartended at Dagwood's for 5 years, so if you're looking for the best burger in town, they still have 12 draft lines, so you'll still find a good craft beer there. East Lansing, my favorite one would be Crunchies. He always has he has all the original stuff. He's got the
Music
stuff
stuff,
that's
too.
hard to find. Karaoke every night.
Prestige Worldwide has
Downtown,
to take it over.
downtown you have Taps 25. They always have a good selection on downtown. Old Town is up and coming. You've got the Creole. Punk Tacos right next door.
The Creole was the
Did you just
only
say punk taco?
Yeah.
Yep.
Excuse me?
Yeah, so you've got anarchy symbols on the walls and handcrafted tacos, even like homemade like corn shells. They're made in house.
Really?
It's amazing.
I gotta get going.
Right?
Something just
See you, Matt. Bye. Bring me some next time.
The Creole was the first place I ever had dragon's milk on hand pull. And it was by far one of the best beers I've ever had in my lifetime. It was so smooth, so silk, like it added to the flavor of just the standard dragon's milk. It wasn't like the vanilla or the coconut rum or
Banana coconut.
the 100 other variants that they have for right now for dragon's milk. Just standard dragon's milk on night or hand pull.
Right.
Oh my God, it was so good. Do you guys like when you go to a bar, what is your go-to beer, your go-to style, your go-to drink that you're looking for? So like
Just
you're
as
going
a consumer?
yeah,
Yes.
as Kaylan.
As Kaylan. Well,
Not as the founders rep.
oh man. It really depends on my mood. I've been on a big gin and tonic kick, so I drink a lot of gin and
welcome to
tonic.
the party.
Did you
You too, right, Ken?
I love gin,
Yeah.
not necessarily gin and tonics.
What do you mix your gin with then?
I
Don't tell me you
had
drink it straight like a
no
terrible human being.
No, I had, and I'll bring it up on my phone because I had it when I went to the Golden Jigger Awards this past Sunday. I think it was Sunday. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was Sunday. They had a drink that was there that was just a gin-based. All the drinks were gin-based drinks that were free, so that's what I was drinking.
It is the lowest calorie liquor there is.
And so when I was, I went up, did the awards. So I'll have to look up exactly what was in there. But most of the drinks had words I didn't understand. Most bartenders probably would, but even me in the industry, like sidestepping the industry, I still don't know what half the words were on that. Like the ingredient list. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this or not. But I'm like, yeah, it's free, so I can just slam it if I don't like it or not. Did you try the Shorts gin barrel aged gin and tonic beer that they had?
Not the barrel aged version of it, no.
I thought it
Wasn't
was
that the melt my brain.
No, you're thinking that's the gin barrel aged version of Melt My Brain, but there was actually a gin and tonic beer from Shorts.
Are you serious?
So Angela brought it for me.
The mule. She brought you a mule beer though.
The mule. Oh, the Moscow Mule. You know what? You're right. You're right.
It was a ginger mule,
Ginger Mule. That's
which
it.
she didn't give me any of. Which I know you were listening right now, you little shyster. You know I'm a gin drinker. You didn't offer me a single one.
That's right. It was. I'm getting
was
my
the mule
drinks
beer.
mixed up. You can tell how much. I should say how much I drink alcohol. Like I'm drinking Russian Standard and sugar-free Red Bull right now, which is my go-to drink here on the show. Now that I'm not drinking as much beer, as I have 3 glasses in front of me.
Hey, this is Rome, right?
Oh, definitely.
It is. So what else do we have that you brought for us to try?
So I brought CBS.
Oh, hello.
Yep, got a big old 750 of CBS in case you want to break into that.
All right, I want to go back to the whole Mountie fiasco.
The Mountie
Okay.
Fiasco.
Are you
Let's
guys
go.
in Canada? Like, do you sell in Canada?
Yes.
Was this either take the Mountie off or you can't sell in Canada, basically? Because, I mean, they're not going to sue you in Michigan court to say take a Mountie off. I mean, it's like Canada has the trademark on a Mountie in America, right? I mean, they would have had a bigger issue with
I
Southbound,
guess I'm not
right?
sure how the law works, but I know that a cease and assist was involved and that the Mountie
Really?
is a trademarked image of the country of Canada.
Yeah, but that's not enforceable outside of.
They
the
may have
Canadian borders.
trademarked it in the United States.
Come on, really?
I can't speak to it. I'm not 100% sure what happened there.
Boo Canada, okay?
No, it's Oh Canada. That's
You're
the,
saying it wrong.
No, I want to boo Canada. Blame Canada. That's why we can't have nice things like Terrence and Phillip.
So you brought CBS. Mm-hmm. What else do you have that's maybe not as
I brought a beer from Starving Artist out of Ludington.
okay?
My dear friend is Motor City Joe. He's a local artist here in Detroit. And our friends at Starving Artist made a coffee cream ale named after my friend, Motor City Joe.
Yes,
And I
please.
actually just traded for this in your parking lot for a bottle of Panther Cup. So, we'll have to check this out.
Yeah.
Starving Artist, they reached out to us not too long ago because they noticed that they were not on our Michigan beer map, which if you go to betterondraft.com/Michigan beer map or MI beer map, you can actually get to our website and you can see every single brewery that's opening, including recent ones that have closed, as well as border breweries. So if you're on the border of Ohio, Indiana, even northern Wisconsin, you can find out some border breweries.
Northern Wisconsin.
Northern
Spread Eagle,
Wisconsin,
huh?
yes. So you can find out breweries that are close to the borders. If you're, find yourself in a city like I'm trying to think of like Wojcik, maybe.
Spread Eagle, Wisconsin.
That's how you say that.
Wojcik.
Yeah.
I also learned Topinabe instead of Topinabe. Topinabe. That's over in Burt Lake / Mullet Lake.
Kazoon type.
Topinabe? No.
Topinabe. It's.
I think
I
you
was-
might have
I
just
was-
had like a bush light too many.
I was told by like 3 people because I kept saying Topinabe. It's Topinabe. Like I was told this. It
that
was.
runs too fast. That's like you
it's-
got like a machine gun tongue.
It's
You
well,
practice.
it's like whenever you go to some of these cities, like if you go to Charlotte, because if you say Charlotte, everyone will correct you.
Those people are all like illiterate. That's why they spell like. There's a city in Ohio called Lancaster, Ohio, but they demand you pronounce it Lancaster. And you're just like, so you guys are the people that live under the sink.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sensing a pattern here. What did Ohio ever do to you?
So back to Michigan Beer Map over at betterondraft.com/MI Beer. Don't be sorry. /MI Beer Map. You can find all of the breweries that are up within our lovely state, including stuff like Ellison, who is opening up a brewery in the city of Lansing proper. Mm-hmm. At least that's what I have over on Washington Street.
They are.
We also have opening up in the Lansing area Sleepwalker Spirits and Ales. Mm-hmm. So those are 2 ones going through. So Starving Artists reached out to us and they were like, hey, we're not on your map. Well, we also have production-only breweries on our map, so you don't accidentally go there and try to drink beer at their tap room. But what I have learned recently is that Starving Artist has opened up a small little tap room.
I didn't even know that.
For you to be able to try their beers inside the tap room. So if you're up in Ludington, maybe heading to Manitowoc for, making a murderer,
It's the Manitowoc Minute.
you can stop at Jamesport, Ludington Bay Brewing, and soon, if not already, Starving Artist. And
Wonderful.
get some beer there. So this is, what was the name of it again?
Motor City Joe.
I think this is the Motor City. Oh,
So this tastes more like, okay, this actually reminds me like Dead Nut Center as to the Eastern Market white coffee stout. This is what it tastes to me. It's because this isn't a cream ale. This almost tastes like a really, really light stout, but
Okay.
or a heavy cream ale. Mm-hmm. It's delicious.
I like
it's
it.
amazing.
I like it a lot.
and what was the name of it again? Starving Artists.
Motor City Joe.
Motor City.
And
So
it's named
Motor-
after the guy who made the artwork for the beer. Is that what we went with, or that was just?
He's a local artist here in Detroit. Does a lot of paintings. He actually met me. He was in the middle of a painting down the road, so he actually met me in the parking lot to give me this.
Oh,
beer.
wow.
Yeah.
Talk about service with a smile.
Right?
Screw you, Amazon Prime.
And he did the artwork for the can.
Most likely, he does a lot of artwork for a lot of.
Okay,
local
do you want to
brewers. He
send it
didn't-
to me so we can throw it on camera so we
Sure.
can?
Yes.
This drink's super smooth. It has coffee notes, super light. But you can definitely tell it's a coffee beer. You would never, if you looked at this color and you and you tasted it, it would not make the sense that it tastes like.
Yeah, it's definitely got a flavor that I can't put my nose on. Like, I can't really describe it because it's not something that I've ever really experienced in regards to.
This tastes like if you brew coffee and you like. I have a Keurig machine, so if you like,
Love that thing.
if you hit your Keurig machine and forgot that you brewed coffee and you came back like 30 minutes later, this is what I'm tasting.
Okay.
Cold coffee?
Yeah, are you not getting cold coffee?
I mean-
or like baseline.
I would think it'd be a
I
little
would
more
say-
bitter if it was just regular cold coffee, unless you have like a flavored coffee, like I don't have a Keurig, so I make bulletproof coffee.
I
That's
get
all I
what
make.
you're saying. I get it because I have a Keurig at home.
Yeah.
and I love my Keurig at home. And I would say, if you say you let this sit, you say you brew it, you let it sit for a while.
Yeah.
I could see that.
like a flat, not hot coffee.
Yeah, I could kind of see that. I've had that happen to me before.
And I
Where I
think-
brew coffee and I'm like, oh shit, I have coffee sitting in the.
Or like
Keurig
if you like brew a pot of coffee before you go to work and then you have some left over.
yes,
And then you get home and you're like, you still have like that last cup of coffee in the pot.
yeah,
And you're like, I'll just throw it down the stairs.
yeah.
No.
I mean it's the same thing at work too, or at my work. Yeah.
Kirkland though, right?
No. I think we have.
DTE coffee.
I forgot what. it
When do
was.
you think Kirkland, like Costco, is going to get into like the crafty beer business?
Like Aldi does?
Yeah, like, or even I think Trader Joe's also contracts breweries.
I think
Never.
they still had.
No, Trader Joe's contracts
Unibrew.
Unibrew, yeah.
Yeah, I got a.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I don't think
Oh, you don't think
Kirkland
Costco will
never-
ever?
Kirkland will never do it.
Really?
You don't think so?
It's the whole, it goes back to the dilly mindset.
Dilly.
It's for the masses, not for the few. Like the people going to Costco want 57 million rolls of toilet paper. They're not looking for a one-off or a bottle or a 4-pack. They want suitcases. They want loose cases. They're not looking for. I mean, God bless him. And I've told this to his face, and I've said this for years. If Sheboygan would ever put blood orange honey into a 24-pack, I'd be the first one to line up and buy it. But you know, Costco works by selling popular products, and that's it. They don't have fringe things.
Right.
They
Having-
did. They opened in Lansing just
A Costco.
recently. A Costco opened in
Okay.
Lansing, and they actually reached out to Ellison Brewery and wanted to bring in local products. So they actually do carry
Fuck me.
Michigan spirits. They got a pallet of our lager. They carry Founders and some of the other big
They,
brands. in
they carry a
Michigan.
lot of beer because that's whenever there's a beer release, like a specific day, there's a beer, and I'm like, I don't want to try to chase or figure out, or if I know, like maybe Zatuna Liquor over in Rochester Hills isn't getting it for a day or two because they have different distribution in Oakland County versus Macomb, Wayne, or Washtenaw. I'll typically go to a Costco or a Sam's Club and just be like, hey, well, I can get in for free. I don't need a club membership to go buy alcohol at Costco. Because it's against the law to deny you alcohol sales for not having a club membership at Costco or Sam's Club. But the reason I asked, though, is because obviously Kirkland has one of the top vodka brands. Yeah, one of the top vodka brands
Vodka
in
and
the
golf
world.
balls. They have number one in both of those things.
Interesting.
Really?
Vodka and golf balls. Kirkland
I-
brand is number one.
I was unaware of the golf balls one. I obviously knew the vodka. Do you play golf at all, man?
I do. Not well. Not well at all.
You play it. But
I play it. Yeah. I guess it plays me more than I play it. But I'm all for go karting throughout 9 holes, 18 if you want to get it sauced.
Kaylan, do you play golf? Have you played golf?
I have played once, and I will never be invited back.
Did you hurt somebody?
I didn't
That's
hurt
the only
anybody. I grew up
Did you
playing
lose a
hockey, and
club
so
in the-
I grew up playing hockey, so I just
Oh,
Happy Gilmore the
I was gonna
shit
say.
out of that ball. So I can hit it, but it just goes, wherever.
Yeah.
I'd do
You should-
great in a scramble just because I'm entertaining, but we're never going to play off my
You should
ball.
do Top Golf.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been there yet. I've seen a lot of things about it.
My 12-year-old nephew has been teaching me, though.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so I'll be great soon.
Well, I mean, as a sales rep, you have to know golf. You
I
know?
really do. So that's why I
You
hired
could probably
my
get one of
nephew.
those like Xbox like Connects and like practice your swing that way because it's got all the little dots and Gen X and to make sure that you've got your proper form and such.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe.
I don't look at me. I've
mean, you're the
also
gamer, right?
I've also well, I am, but I don't have an Xbox. I've also only played golf once, and they started counting my whiffs as strokes. I still managed to beat one of the people that I was playing
Dude,
with.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it was one of those. The issue too is that I was playing with somebody else's clubs, and I've got a good 6 to 8 inches on him.
That's what
So-
they all
You're
say.
crouching more than normal.
Yeah, like it wasn't a natural
Sure.
way to swing. So I'm sure if I could probably bought my own clubs, I just never could get into it. Like I'm a disc golfer. Like I like going out, having a cigar, can get done with a round in an hour and a half, and
I mean, you can smoke a cigar.
get
on the
done
golf
with a
course.
round in an hour and a half.
9 holes.
And you
hour
get
and a half.
a golf cart too.
I've done 9 holes in an hour and a half.
Okay, maybe.
I've done it in a couple of hours.
I'd probably drink more if I I don't drink when I play disc golf, but I'd probably
yeah.
drink if I was golfing.
That's part of the sport. Like you got to like figure out where the middle is after you've had 4 or 5. Which
well, it's kind of like bowling,
yes.
minus
Yeah.
the fact that you can't really lose your bowling ball, but you can lose your golf ball.
that's
I
why they're-
suppose you could lose your bowling ball if it cracked.
I would
open.
be impressed if you could do it, but we are coming up on a break. We're a few minutes behind. We will be right back. Better on Draft Podcast. And we are back. Still with us from Founders is Kaylan.
What up? What up?
Hello.
Yeah.
Had quite the story time during the break.
Yeah, dude.
Yes, we did.
I had a life experience, and they got to enjoy it firsthand. But nonetheless,
I will never forget it.
I don't think I will either. But I think it's one of those, like, first of all, what was hysterical, and we won't get into the details, but come Monday morning, what was Dave and Chuck the Freak's topic? Because I don't even listen to Dave and Chuck the Freak. It's just the standard radio station that goes on when I go to Bluetooth, and I just have to hit source to get to Bluetooth. It's bad first dates.
Oh,
Perfect.
And I'm like, oh, I know this.
I remember
Fits perfect.
there's when I used to sell beer. I also did that thing.
I didn't know that.
I did, yeah. I did a major distro kind of guy. And the same party store I was at on 8 Mile, every time it would be the second date update,
Right there.
which for those of us who don't listen to the morning show of Mojo and them, they call and say, hey, so why aren't you guys went on 2 dates, why aren't you calling so and so back, and then etc. So it's always awkward, and it kind of makes your spine and your skin crawl about what people say about one another, and love being in the dating pool. That's what
So
I kind of miss the days of the rotary phone. I'm getting
gosh, rotary phone.
that way you can
So-
just beat the hell out of somebody up there.
So Matthew, I actually, before we went on the break and even going into the break, I did some research to answer your question about the Mountie. I think I have an answer for you.
Was it Brendan Fraser's problem? Was it his fault?
Brendan Fraser's problem?
I think it was Brendan
Really?
Fraser.
I don't think it was Brendan Fraser.
His
that
uncle.
caused the
His uncle
CUD.
was a Mountie. He was quite.
Was his name Dudley?
He was the.
Canada, that they have to respect the Mounties.
Well,
I
mean, recent geopolitical ideas. I can't imagine that reciprocal law thing's currently working.
this has been in place since 1985. I'm sure the Mounties were probably getting made fun of well before 1985 in the United States.
Okay.
When you have a wrestler.
Did South Park get a C&D? Did Broken Lizard get a C&D?
Neither of them got.
What about the
marks.
WWF?
The WWF.
Jacques Rougeau, the Mountie.
Yeah. Okay. But he was Canadian though.
He was Canadian.
He was Canadian, so I think that's. If it would have been different if it was an American doing it, maybe. But Jacques
can't tell
Rougeau
you.
was most definitely from.
That just
Was he from Quebec?
that just sounds
Yeah, he was a
like
Quebecer. He was
Quebecer.
racistly Canadian.
Right? What?
I think that's what a lot of characters on television are, like Broken Lizard. What's Super Troopers 2?
Yeah.
It was very racist, like racially Canadian. Like
Yeah.
this is what the stereotypical Canadian does, and that's just kind of what it is. Kind of like how everyone like Minnesota. If you say someone from Minnesota, you always have to add "don't you know."
Don't you know?
Well,
hey,
that's
My sister
Bob,
lives in Minnesota.
that's
and she
Bobby's
really
world's
doesn't know.
fault.
Bobby's
though.
world.
Yeah.
So the committee, or the council between the United States and Canada, which is also short for RCC, was formed in February 2011 between President Obama as well as Prime
Why you gotta
Minister
bring politics into
Harper.
this?
I'm not. We're talking about CBS. There's clearly no Mountie.
But
This
they
is the
came
reason
out.
why.
But it came out in 2012. Wasn't that the last
20
release before this year? 2012.
You mean before last year?
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
CBS.
Yeah, CBS, we released it in 17. I believe it was 14, 17, 18.
So I
Okay.
mean, why didn't they get something in 14?
I don't
then?
know. Maybe I don't know. It's so.
Too
It
drunk
takes
on
a
maple
while-
syrup.
It takes a while to piss people off, kind of
There
like
you
the
go.
baby.
I mean, when
baby on breakfast
you
now.
mentioned that you got that Founders is in 3 different countries. What other 2 countries is Canada one of them?
Canada, Mexico,
Okay, so basically
and Ireland.
Ireland.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I just got a picture of somebody drinking
saw-
all day in Dublin.
Really?
Well, Canada, you
all
could.
day IPA in Dublin?
Yeah.
Yeah, Canada, you could get
Really?
12-ounce bottles at CBS, which I know a lot of people went over to the beer stores in Canada to get the 12 ounces because, to be honest, and we kind of talked about it last week. Me personally, I would love to see smaller, like even smaller than 12-ounce bottles of these big beers, just to be able to. Yeah,
Come on, Angela.
No, do you not? Like, I just don't want to have to either wait for a share to drink a So Happens It's Tuesday or a CBS or a KBS.
I mean,
I just
right.
want to drink,
Yeah.
I'd love an 8-ounce portion of CBS just for me, just like I would get at any bar that I bought a
I
pour.
just think that there's so many things in this world that keep us apart. No, I'm serious. Like, if I'm somebody that can't drink at 22 and I could, but I shouldn't. What's wrong with calling a friend and say, "Hey, I just got this beer. Let's, grill steaks and have it, or let's watch the game and share." I mean, beer is meant to be shared. That's why it comes in in 15 and a half
And-
30 racks.
gallon
Right.
kegs.
And that's kind of
30 well,
and that's one of the reasons
30
why
racks to a single serving,
on this
depending
show
on-
we have the big bottles like it so happens it's Tuesday, the CBS.
Yeah, but we
is in
also
front
bring
of us.
6 big bottles, so really we're
Yeah.
all having our own big
It's
bottle.
really-
But
Yeah.
I really like that idea. Beer's meant to be shared, so why not get a big bottle of
Yeah.
it? And why not?
Right.
Well,
why
I'm not saying
share
I'm
it?
not saying not to make the big bottles, but I'm saying make it to where I can drink, because
Give
you were
people
talking
the
about
option.
Blushing Monk is coming out in 12
Yes,
ounces.
12-ounce 4
As opposed
packs.
to these bigger bottles, because were they always in 12-ounce 4-packs and the big bottles too, or was it always just the big bottles?
It's always
and I
been
just-
750s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just don't want the 750. I just want a single share, and even a 12-ounce bottle as a single share would be great. And Griffin Claw went the opposite way and went from 12-ounce bottles to 16-ounce cans on everything.
Even so, a craft beer drinker might not have friends that are into craft beer. So
Yeah, I mean, we have Matt here.
Yeah, the likelihood. Yeah, I know.
Hey,
I
I'll
mean-
drink a Busch Light. Don't get
I know
me.
you'll drink
So
a Busch
I
Light,
want-
but
so-
if I'm calling you to come over and drink a So Happens It's Tuesday, you're gonna like scoff at me like, oh,
I'll just be like, what are we
Yeah.
doing? What are we doing? What else are we doing?
I
For
mean-
me,
What
drinking
else you
drinking beer is like an add-on. Like, let's watch the Royal Rumble and drink beer.
That's coming
Let's go to the game and drink beer. It's not. I mean, I'm fine with, hey, come over. Let's drink beer. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But I'm not going to just want to sit on someone else's couch and drink beer because I can do that at my house.
I mean, this is almost 15%. This is going to be really hard
wine.
for someone. Yeah, basically, someone for like myself.
because you're 2 foot tall.
Can we just mute him, please? Thank you. This is gonna be really tough for me to drink by myself. That's one of the reasons why I brought this in, because I knew some people were going to at least take a little bit of it, and maybe it'll take a little bit off of me to finishing it. And
well, it
kinda like how
allows
we
you the
have
opportunity to try it without having to finish it yourself.
Right, because if I did this, then I'd be calling that Uber home.
You guys really need to try that Guinness Bullet, by the way.
is
If
pretty
you-
good.
It is
Yeah.
So
good.
I had
let's.
that.
Can we talk through this CBS while we're here? Because
I didn't get a pour of CBS, so no.
Oh, it didn't make it down there?
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Seriously.
just give him the bottle.
It's funny
take the
that I have a
bottle.
bottle of this at home I haven't opened yet, and I've had it for the first time on this show.
So, Kaylan, do you want to walk us through the tasting notes, flavor profile of the Canadian breakfast stout?
Absolutely. So it's the breakfast stout, the coffee stout, aged in barrels, bourbon barrels that once housed maple syrup. And then we age it in the gypsum mines below the city of Grand Rapids.
Now, does the gypsum contribute anything, or is it just the temperature?
It's just the temperature. The temperature is always 45 degrees down there, and so it's actually government-owned property, and we rent space from them, and other people keep items down there, like museums keep artifacts down there, law offices keep documents down there. I'm just so fascinated by the mines, but it's just the consistent temperature.
So how does one not like also rent space in the mine and just like liberate a barrel of CBS when you're not looking?
Oh, it's all locked up.
Oh,
it's
so there's,
basically
like,
like
fences?
renting a storage space
okay.
in a mine.
Okay.
So it's locked.
In a gypsum mine? Mm-hmm. Really? And they have gypsum mines in Lansing? Is there one? Or are you talking about the one in Detroit?
Grand Rapids.
Oh, Grand Rapids. Okay,
Yes.
because I've driven by the one downriver countless times.
Salt mines, though.
Yeah. No, that's a gypsum mine.
There's,
No, it's an actual gypsum mine right by the Rouge River drawbridge.
okay. I thought they were salt, but the salt and gypsum could be.
No,
the
I
same
think
thing.
there's Detroit City Salt. Yeah, but I know what you're talking about. Yes,
Cool.
dude, I work for DT.
I just drink
know
beer.
this stuff.
I'm learning so much. I'm not sure.
That's just,
Well, now you know about the Mountie, so when everyone starts bothering you, like, oh, why is the Mountie not on here?
Like I said before the break ended, don't hold it to me. This is just from.
Oh, no, that's the official
That's the
statement.
official statement.
Okay.
From
You heard it
Better
right
on
here on
Draft.
Better on Draft. That's what we're coming up with. That's what we're saying.
Oh, we have someone coming in.
We do?
Yep.
Yeah,
Whoa,
this
we
is
got-
my friend Alex.
Come on, sit down.
Alex, have a seat, sir.
Obviously, he works for Founders.
He brought all day
He
IPA.
brought more beer because that's what we need.
We got these big bombers here. You have to drink them all by yourself.
Well,
Good
he's
luck,
I'm
everybody
kidding.
else.
he's the local rep. So let's turn on your microphone, which is number 7.
Get this out of the way.
I couldn't answer questions
that's
about
your
Detroit,
number 7.
so
Let's
I
do number
invited
6.
Alex.
I
to
can't
do that
either,
for
so.
you.
Oh, hey, there we go.
I don't know anything about
Well, hello, Alex. Welcome to the
Hi,
show.
everybody. Thank you for having me.
You are,
I'm a lot of things. What are you asking specifically?
in reference to the beer world, you are.
I'm a sales rep for Founders on the east side of Michigan. And I'm going to drink this so it
You
happens.
go for it, sir. Because we're not going to be able to finish it all. With another
Because
beer
it's
on the table.
delicious.
Yeah, I cover about 8 counties for us on the east side of Michigan. I've been doing that. I've been selling beer for 6 years now. So
Oh, wow.
it's been with Founders for a year, but yeah, I've been out slinging for a while.
Where were you prior to Founder?
I worked for Epic Brewing Company.
Epic?
I was there for almost 2 years,
Okay.
and before that, I worked for Great Lakes Brewing Company
Okay.
as well. So I've been kind of made some rounds.
Very, very cool. Very, very
Were you a local rep for GLBC or?
Yeah, Southeast Michigan for Great Lakes, and then Epic. I was just about anywhere they'd send me. So that I hit 13 states in 1 year for Epic. So
Nice.
it-
That sounds like a lot of travel.
We were just talking about Epic in Utah.
We
Yeah.
were.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yes, we
Yeah.
were.
We were, and obviously the big beers that they have. Have you gotten a chance to try like the Quad Baptista?
I haven't had quad. Yeah, I did have the triple barrel, but I haven't gotten a quad yet. I have to yell at our local rep here.
I'm still surprised that we are halfway through December. We're still finding bottles of that out there. It's
The-
of the quad barrel.
I saw it tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a pretty.
that's-
I think it's the price point that scares a lot of people away.
I
in
think it's pretty
comparison.
complex
Oh,
too.
I,
You know,
I
It's-
agree. It's
Kinda like the
worth
triple
the
barrel,
price,
or more
but
complex than the triple barrel.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a
'cause
layer.
It's a radio show, Matthew. We have to ask the questions. Shut up.
Well, I mean, do you think that there is a separation, like people
Church
drink
and state.
Huh?
No, nothing.
We already had our politics conversation prior to you getting
Like, do you think there's a separation where people who would try the double barrel, only some of them like the triple barrel, and thus, if you like the triple barrel, you might not like the quad. So there's that,
Yeah,
kind of walking the.
I think there's something to the simplicity of beer at times, and it. I think that something that requires a long explanation can get complicated, and so that beer itself has 4 individually barrel-aged components, and that requires an explanation. And so if we're getting into deep, complex beers that aren't, I guess let's say they're not close to home or they're not in immediate demand, then they're going to sit.
and it's
Beers from the brewery is the greatest, I think, example of that probably in this market. That there's beers from the brewery you can find on the shelves that people, in the secondary market spend hundreds of dollars to get, but they're just sitting here. And so
Yes.
But do you think that's a Michigan problem versus like?
it's an industry problem.
it's we have the complete opposite. So
Systemic.
when former host Dan will send Nick and I photos of legit
Cases.
of Bourbon County in the middle of August or September that haven't been sold.
Yes.
And it's everywhere you go, there's always no thank you. There's always something in regards to a beer. Like for instance, I went down to Asheville, and while Asheville is a huge beer purchasing state, I had just randomly on draft at this beer store, CBS, and it's just been sitting there for a while. I had every single Abyss variant like ready for me to purchase. So I think state by state, we all have the beers we love, the beers we get, and there are states that do not purchase the beer that we purchase the
Correct.
way we purchase, but they purchase other beer that we don't purchase.
We're still the largest, as I think you guys will get. We're the largest seller of KBS, the state of Michigan, out of any state in the country, and so we're Founders isn't immune to that. We still walk into markets that they're putting KBS next to All Day, Solid Gold, and Rubaeus in a seasonal capacity, as opposed to this one-off drop that the hype is high for. So it's we're not immune to that either. It's
We
definitely
didn't have the foresight today to repeat what we did when we had Kevin on the show, because now that we had CBS, we could have done our mixture, because when we had Kevin on the show last time, we mixed KBS and Milwaukee's Best to make the Kentucky Beast Stout.
Did you just want to see his head explode, or
Well, we didn't know it was going to explode,
little
but he seemed to be okay.
He was okay with it. It basically tasted like a watered down KBS. That's all it
he
tasted
was being
like.
recorded?
Was it like that commercial from the 70s and 80s when you like throw the trash out like and it lands on the foot of the Indian or the Native American?
Just yeah, there was a silent tear for sure. Yeah.
We might have to have him back on for a.
Yeah, I mean, I got a
interrogate
bottle
him
of
with that one.
CBS at home. We can make some Milwaukee's Beast with it.
I got one
See
too.
how it goes.
We could try.
Canadian Beast.
Ice.
That is one
Canadian
thing.
Beast Ice.
So for Kevin, because obviously I worked with Kevin at the Fall Festival. We did the photo shoot for all of the Detroit Beer Experiment beers.
Yeah.
And one of the big things is for Kevin is that he just loves mixing beers just to see what happens. And when I showed up on Saturday, I literally walked in and I'm just like, hey, what's going on? He's like, here, you should try this. And it was like KBS, CBS, and something else mixed together. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm tasting at this point, because it's just so much flavors fighting against each other that it doesn't have that chemistry like what my favorite mixture is, which is Dirty Bastard, which we talked about earlier, and Rubaeus, which you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Dirty
The
Rub.
dirty rub.
The dirty
I like a back rub, actually. I'm more of a fan of the back rub, which
Well,
is
now you can get it because it's
backwards Rubaeus.
well, get it easier because it's
More of a
obviously.
romantic.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you could do. Don't you have dank wood? Isn't that so a dank rub?
Dank wood.
Wouldn't it be a wood rub?
Or a wood rub?
Wood rub's better. That's funnier.
It's funny.
It's got
I just
more
bought a
comedy.
bottle of that today.
Which one? The dank
The
wood?
wood rub?
It's
No,
still
yeah,
drinking.
wood
It's
rub.
still drinking pretty nicely.
Because that was the
I got it
barrel aged
from my wife.
IPA, right?
Ridiculous. Barrel aged
You get
ridiculous.
it.
Barrel aged
Get it from your wife,
ridiculous.
too.
Speaking of which, you know what we should do? I do have a bottle of ridiculous from last year.
We shouldn't do that at all.
Why not? See what it's like.
Not good.
Not good. You don't
yeah.
know that.
I'm pretty sure.
Have you had it yet? Have you had a 1.5-year old ridiculous?
No, I've had 8-month-old ridiculous, and
And
it's
it's not very good.
it's not great.
I like it. but
Shockingly, a double dry hopped Imperial Red IPA does not
Age
sell
well.
or age. Yeah,
We like to experiment on this.
despite whatever people think.
I mean, I could bring a 2-year-old zombie dust if you want me to.
What about a 60-year-old Stroh's?
I got some
The
barrel.
60
I got in the
You
car.
sell
I've got Barrel Runner
No, I
and
still
some
have some.
Harvest Ale. If you guys want to get crazy,
I think I have Harvest Ale still.
Crazy.
I can bring that 2-year-old
So
hop slam.
what is your opinion then in regards to beer? Like if somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, I'm going to not barrel age, but I'm going to age this beer." Like, do you think beer needs to be drank like right away? It should be drank. Well, you can answer the question too.
I definitely have an opinion about this, and I think the best answer I've ever heard of this came from the guy he does the tours at Founders. Asking a brewery how long should I hang on to this beer is like asking a server at a restaurant after they drop off your food, asking them how long you should wait to eat it. The beer's ready. The beer is released when it's ready to go. It's released when it's tasting the best. Just drink your beer.
I think I have.
But that's how they got like blue cheese, by waiting. somebody in England somewhere waited.
I think I have two answers though.
Yeah.
And one is very founders centric, and the other, because truthfully, and I mean this wholeheartedly, I don't believe that our beers age in the way that they're perceived to. I do think there's something great about KBS with 1 year. I do think there's something really great about Backwoods with 1 year on it. But universally, as that time sort of turns over, it's not improving the quality. And those beers don't have, they're not bottle conditioned. So the yeast isn't helping hold that beer up over time. Now, but if you remove yourself from that and look at it, as a fan of beer, there's breweries in this, in this industry that age exceptionally. I wouldn't hesitate to buy some old Cantillon. I wouldn't hesitate to buy some old Allagash beers. I think bottle conditioning is everything when it comes to aging beer. So
I'm going to add to that is, kind of a merge of what you guys said. If a brewer didn't think you should drink that beer,
Correct.
he wouldn't put it in the market.
Yep.
He wouldn't say, I don't have enough fermenter space, so I put it in a bottle so you can put it in your fridge.
Right.
And off like what you said for the wait staff, you wouldn't say, "Hey, Mr. Accountant, thank you for doing my taxes. When should I send this into the government?"
Jeremy Kosmicki
they'll
is
let
our
it's
Jeremy Kosmicki is our brewmaster, and he likes to say that I did all the work for you. You don't have to wait any longer. Just drink the beer.
yeah, and there's something to be said to holding on. Just
Well,
hold on
there
to
are
the
some
home,
times where breweries tell you to age the beer. Like Dogfish Head's 120 says right on the label, best when aged or aged after
I think
a certain amount of time.
Bell's does Expedition Stout. They have a shelf life thing on there.
Well, that's different. That's
Yep.
how long you have
And
until
I
you
think
should
with,
drink it.
Black Note, they do the same thing. So
I-
that almost encourages.
I spent a year chasing
Celery.
beer, and that was a year too many.
See, I think there's a thought though, and it goes back to the 50s and 60s when Schlitz was, the Budweiser of today.
Where's this going?
Just let
He
Matt.
gets there. He gets
I'll get
He'll,
there.
in the next 10, 15 minutes, he'll.
Well,
get there.
so in order to sell more beer, Schlitz would can beer that wasn't done yet, and they would put it in the market, but people would just drink it right away, not realizing it wasn't done yet, which killed the flavor, the taste, and people wanting to buy it. So there's almost like a reverse mentality now of it's ready, but I'm not ready to drink it. It's the Hot Pocket theory.
Sure.
Okay, I'm calling it right now the Hot Pocket.
Yeah, I love me
Theory.
some Hot Pockets.
You put it in the fridge, or you
Lean,
put it
lean
in the microwave.
pockets too for those.
Those two.
You put the Hot Pocket in the microwave. You nuke it for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's going to burn your mouth, so you try to wait, but no matter
can't.
how long you wait,
I'm not
It's
waiting
gonna
for those
burn
pizza
you.
rolls.
Or-
I'm eating those pizza rolls.
or if you do wait, what happens is
You burn yourself.
you didn't microwave it long enough, and then you get in the middle, and it's an iceberg in there.
Yeah.
So
So to
you're
that
screwed either
point-
way or not.
That's
To
been
what
the
you
story
just
of
See
my
what
life
it
all
tells you.
week.
Yeah.
To your example of Hot
Pocket
Pockets, I have been on the other end of that in that I've saved beers that I shouldn't have, and I've and you crack open a beer like 2 or 3 years down the line, and you think
Yep.
my cupboard had better uses. Like this is a waste of time, and so it's I don't know. I stopped.
You put a Hot Pocket in the cupboard?
Right? Yeah.
I think we did that with the Surly's coffee bender. We had that at the Detroit studio that one
Yeah,
time.
that was really bad.
Yeah, we let it wait and it didn't
If
taste.
if you've ever had Surly's Coffee Bender,
Yeah.
it is such a good beer.
and you
But
let it
with
s-
age,
you let it sit.
I don't know how you aged it.
They got a new one out called Grindcore that I really want.
Grind.
Really?
Yeah, I want to get my hands on that.
Sounds like
A,
sounds like-
Style
Is
of
it because
music
of
I
the
love
name
to
or
It is a
flavor?
style of
It's
music.
both.
Is that a
It is a
music
style
spot-
of music.
music
It's what
genre?
we all listened to it when we were 14 and we
yes,
wearing
I
Slayer shirts and
appreciate
Jinkos.
a litter of examples of funny things. So it's great. A well-named beer will get a purchase from me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have no problem with that.
I'm trying to figure out like some of the more well-known grindcore bands out there.
Grindcore.
Pretty Ricky.
Is that like Pretty Ricky? Shut up.
I'm thinking like Zayo. Zayo is
Grindcore. Is that like new metal?
It sounds like the undertrack to every skateboard video you've ever seen in your life.
This is where we would either
What
need.
about tantric?
There's three people that could help us in this conversation: either John Pipenbrock,
Yeah.
Yes.
Chris Reynolds, or Dana Hadrill.
Well, Chris, I know you're listening. I've
Okay,
seen you.
Chris is watching right now.
Oh,
Chris, we need you.
Napalm Death. I've heard of them.
Yeah, there we go.
No, I'm actually being honest. I have heard of
I don't
Napalm.
I don't know what that
You
is.
hear them on Sirius XM a lot.
I don't.
We don't listen to the same serious section.
I know Pig,
Well,
there's Pig Destroyer, and I
Pig
know them
Destroyer.
about from what's that?
Agoraphobic
Three Floyds. There we
nosebleed.
go.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Agoraphobic nosebleed.
All right, we're gonna take a break.
Was that like a bad Wu-Tang
I don't know. It's the name of a band.
It's getting off the rails.
Yeah, we're
Oh, we did
far,
that a long time
far
ago.
from that in
You
regards
grind
to
on the rails.
grind. So we're gonna be right back. We're gonna be back in about 9 minutes. Better on Draft Podcast, and we are back. The Founders Edition of Better on Draft Podcast.
Not one, but two.
Not one but two, and neither of them Kevin.
Thank God. Thank God.
Damn. Shit's rough tonight.
So you've been with the company for a year,
It'll be 1 year on January 8th. So
and you've been slinging beer for other breweries for a decent amount of time.
yeah.
What? So we have a lot of people who listen to the show, especially Eastsiders, St. Clair Shores. Like that's where a lot of our Eastsiders are. Thank you, Baffin, probably for that. But like in regards to Detroit, Metro Detroit, like where is your personally, not Founders, but where is your go-to spot? Like what is your bar, brewery, place to go for a beer
My favorite
or a drink for that matter? What is it? What is it?
So I've always had
Atmosphere.
I've always had a belief, and it's a secret I pass on to a lot of reps, is that have a favorite bar that you don't sell beer to, that you never ever once introduce yourself as a sales rep.
So hold on, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. So I work for a point of sale company. I do not drink at any bar or restaurant that has my point of sale in it. Period.
Right.
Straight. End of sentence. And there's a story which I will tell you after we are done with this, just because it's one of those things to where I don't want to be heard, be told, etc. on the air of if somebody hears it and realizes who I am, what I am, and where I was. So, but yeah, that's my personal experience. So even when I went to for 4 days, I was at Great Lakes Brewing Company, which is a Toast customer now.
Are they cool?
They are about a year and a half ago.
They kill.
And I showed up. First of all, I showed up the day before, and they weren't open.
Sunday.
Yep. So I'm like, crap. Well, because I was going to get enjoy some Great Lakes before they go to my point of sale. Sure enough, I'm like, oh crap. So I went to Market Garden, which is where I went the first time that
It's
I
so
went
funny.
to that area.
I've been told that story 700 times. Like people are like, "Oh, I went to Cleveland on Sunday. Great Lakes was closed. We went to Market Garden after." Like,
So the first time I went to Market Garden, I'll always remember was Johnny Manziel's first start.
yeah.
And I've never seen a fan base go from so hype to so dead. And I mean, I'm a Lions fan.
I was gonna
And-
say you come on.
I was
But
working.
no.
I was working there then, and they were gonna make a Johnny Man's ale in the tap room,
Oh, that's too on the nose.
and it got shot down.
I don't blame them.
No, whoever shot that down needs to be shot down.
Yeah.
So where you don't sell, obviously it could be where another founder's rep sells.
Sure,
or something like
and
that.
yeah, and that's the catch is now with Founders, there's few bars that don't at least have a bottle of Dirty Bastard behind the bar or something. So my local bar has been Yield Tap Room for a long time. Or I'm sorry, Yield Saloon, not Yield.
Heard over in Royal
Alter.
Oak.
No, that the tap room is
Tap Room's great. Yield Tap Room is in Detroit. Yield
Saloon is in Royal Oak.
Yeah, at Alter and Mac in like Grosse
Right,
Pointe Park.
correct. Yeah, not that place.
Oh, fuck you. That's
I love that place also. But Yield Saloon, right here.
The last time I ever won a Quizzo event was at that place.
Nice.
in
It
Royal
wasn't
Oak or Detroit.
in Royal Oak.
Yeah.
It wasn't me
Because I
though.
run into a lot of reps in there.
You do, and I just have
That's what
never
really is.
once in 6 years been like, hey, who does the thing with the stuff? I just don't care. I want to hang out there. I don't want anyone to come talk to me. And if they have my beer, they do. It's not my account. I don't care. It's not my fence, not my problem.
You know, one of the places here locally it's Park Inn.
I like that place too.
Yeah, I remember like just sneaking off of work and just sitting at the bar at like 2:00.
I live about 3 streets from there, so
Yeah,
it's a frequent.
right up on
on
Main
Main,
Street.
yeah.
Do you feel, and this is a question for both of you, do you feel obligated to purchase Founders beer when you're out, not as a Founders person, but
it's
just as a
free.
drinker?
So it's free if we do that. So.
Typically, yeah?
Not typically, universally.
Oh.
It's free.
Yeah,
So
they want
you
us
just
to promote our brand.
Turn the receipts in at the end of the month or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So would you feel compelled to drink Founders for free all the time?
Yes.
Yeah, so do I.
Sign me up.
Yeah,
Can I get an application? Are you guys hiring?
we are. Yeah, we
I've
actually
got
have
a lot of work I could be doing.
we actually have a lot of positions open right now for anybody interested. That's significant amount of positions in the country open.
In the country, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Not
you guys
locally,
are
not
you
locally.
guys are in 48 states.
47. Yeah.
47.
Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
misspoke.
Bam.
Sorry, everybody.
And 30 plus countries. We don't actually have the
30
real,
countries?
we don't actually
Look,
have
you
a
and your
real
three.
number. So the
Thank you.
She says she's in 3 countries. She
I
named
met 3
4.
reps from other countries while we were at ADP,
Ah,
so
there
that's
you
all
go.
that's
Yeah.
all I knew. So I'm glad that I invited Alex.
So it's 30 plus. We say 30 plus because several of those are handled by exporters. So we'll sell to them as an exporter, and we don't really control where it goes from that point. And we found our beer in countries that we didn't know we were selling to.
Okay, so I feel better about my answer. I
Yeah.
met
Well-
reps from 3 other countries.
There you
You know,
go.
as much as we have laws in the United States in regards to purchasing, crossing state lines, etc.,
All bets are off.
I was going to say it's probably a lot different when you get into different continents.
There's
into
no
Africa, into
there's
Asia,
even no
into
distribution. It's just import export business, and so there's no. I mean, if you want to buy it, you can buy it. Actually, in a lot of cases, we sell to breweries, who will then sell our product because they're direct to retail.
Do they sell it as their own beer? Like, do they rename it? Kind of
No,
like
no,
if you were to contract.
No, I mean it in the sense that they'll buy it as a commodity and resell it as a commodity, but they're the entry point. They almost serve as the distributor for those markets because they are direct to
Not everyone has
retail.
party stores, Ken.
Well, no. So I guess my follow up question, as I'm continuing to learn, because
Sure.
as much as
International is really
I should
complex.
probably ask Shannon Long the next time she's ever on our show.
She knows what's up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you guys sell to the exporter and then the exporter sells it to the
Importer.
do they sell it to the importer? I don't know.
Typically, yes. So
Okay.
99% of the time we're going internationally. We're not. It's a catch-22, and there's a lot of complexities to it, and it changes country to country.
So figured generally we'll say without getting
Generally
into,
speaking,
so
we're
it goes
selling-
founders to the exporter to the importer to the bar brewery
Correct.
store.
But that's where you need the person or the distributor between importer and bar brewery.
So here's a great example that'll resonate pretty easily. In Canada, for instance, they do not have a traditional distribution method that the United States has. 90% of breweries in Canada are direct from brewery to retail, and they control every step of it themselves. We, on the other hand, do sell beer into Canada, but it does go through a distributor. They do exist.
Are they the Mounties?
Yeah.
We've already had this discussion.
It's towed by horse.
I'm trying to bring it back.
It's towed by moose. And so
Dropped off by Eagle, Amazon.
breweries entering the Canadian market do go through distribution because we're not going to load beer in Grand Rapids and drive it to Ottawa. So we have to go through traditional distributors, and they do exist. But if you look at the larger breweries, like Labatt in Canada sells direct to retail. You buy your beer from Labatt. You don't buy it from the Labatt distributor. You don't buy it from the Labatt importer exporter. You buy it from Labatt. And so
In Michigan or in the country?
in Canada.
In Canada.
In Canada.
Heard, sorry.
Yeah. So it's, and whereas we have to go through an importer because we're not going to be direct retail in Canada. But
Before you continue, can you pass me down the Guinness?
yeah,
I'm just going to take the rest.
it's tasty.
This is
I
mine.
agree. Does anybody else want a little bit before I?
Pour me just the smidgest.
Caught that left-handed.
Now let's see if you can throw it back.
Sounds like my father. My father, if you ever go to a salad bar or a buffet, he'll be like, if I could put all the food on here and flip it, you think I can keep everything on the plate?
No.
Depending on how fast he does it.
The answer's no.
No. The answer is yes.
I mean, inertia exists.
It's how fast can Padre do that?
Well, I mean, his name's Ken too, so can Ken do it too?
I was in a bar, so there used to be a bar in Lansing. It was the Cheeseburger in Paradise chain.
Oh, okay.
If you remember
Okay.
these,
Wasting
okay.
away
They're
And
still,
so-
they're still on
Yeah.
Lakeside.
in Margaritaville.
Isn't
I'm
there?
sitting at a table,
think so.
and out of the corner of my eye, I swear I see one bartender throw a beer to the other bartender across the bar. And he did. They would throw beers at each other.
Was it
and
Jimmy
he'd-
Buffett?
And he'd catch it in a circular motion and then set it on the bar. They were literally throwing pints of beer at each other and catching it.
Like glasses of
Is this the start to
Glasses.
the movie Cocktail?
It really is. But it happened at the Cheeseburger in Paradise next to the Lansing Mall.
Had you watched The Prestige like the day before? And this was like just like the transporting man.
No, it was amazing. They were throwing pints of beer
And Tom
at
Cruise
each other.
wasn't there, just for the
He
record.
was not. At least not this time.
Okay.
Well, I mean, she's probably taller than him, so she'd have to look down to look
I
for
really
him.
would.
I
I want to like light a cigarette and say I don't believe you. Just kinda jiff it
You want to
out.
fight about it?
I just want to jiff it
there,
out.
you know, when we see this, we see it typically a lot with alcohol. Like everybody has, there's a lot of showmanship in regards to making drinks, and when you're not making
15 pieces
the
of flair.
very, very good cocktails, and you're just making the basic ones, you're obviously flipping it. Like though, I always think of the D in Detroit or the D in Vegas. Excuse me. So the D bar in Vegas, the long bar, whatever you want to call it, because I always remember them doing that, like throwing bottles and having almost a show. Or what was that stupid fucking bar in downtown Utica?
Locker room.
The locker room. There you go.
I apparently I don't know.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, it was rest in
I don't-
pieces for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
I was there
sure.
once. They made me buy 2 beers before I even walked in the door.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they gave me drumsticks. I'm like, you gave me 2 things I wanted.
Yeah.
Gave me 2 things I didn't. Can we like change this transaction, please?
That was actually a place that Ken and I and our group of friends did go for like a hot minute.
I would go every once in a
It's like
while.
a
Yeah, I
$5
think
pizza and like beer for like.
Yeah, they did
during
yeah,
the lunch.
My
yeah.
wife used
You
to
could
go
tell
there.
why they didn't they
Yeah.
didn't survive.
Yeah, they would have the like the burger, the beer, and the fries, or the pizza with the beer. For
I think
$5.
that if I have to walk into a bar and pay you to be there from the beginning, I'm out.
Yeah, it's
You're
it's
not
it's
a fan of
Canadian
the cover.
staple.
What am I paying for? The experience of
Oh,
being in your
yes.
building?
Sure.
Ambiance.
I'm good.
The ambiance. What is this, Windsor?
There are
Do you
other
feel the same way about covers, Kaylan?
I would pay a cover if they were a band. Like we have
That I wanted to see.
A band that you
A
wanted.
band you would like
We
to
have a
see.
spot in Lansing called the Green Door, and they have amazing jazz bands and turntable
Okay.
nights. And I would pay a cover there because I know it's paying the artist.
Sure. Yeah, I'll do that.
Other than that, I won't wait in line. I won't wait in line for food or a bar. I'm too hungry and I'm too old.
Oh, I'll wait for
I'd like if I could pack snacks, like if I knew ahead of time to pack snacks, I would stand to
Well,
stand.
I like
hold
how
on, let's-
Minnesotan you say that, like pack snacks.
We just had a Minnesota moment.
I do love snacks.
Let's bring it back a minute because you talked about lines in regards to waiting the beer. Obviously, you guys have been to the festivals local.
skipped the
Obviously,
lines.
you guys have giant fucking lines at Founders.
Yeah.
See, we get to skip the lines though. So I can't speak to standing in line.
So I have a story related to this that you'll appreciate.
Let's hear the story.
A couple years ago, before FOBAB, the Festival of Barrel Aged Beers in Chicago, largest barrel aged festival in
Where
the country.
Sellerman's just won a gold.
Which is congrats. That's awesome. It's an incredible festival. The night before they do a Brewers Hospitality Night. It's at the Goose Island Barrel House.
Oh.
And it's awesome. It's catered by Girl and the Goat, which is one of the best restaurants in Chicago. So you're walking around, you're eating Girl and the Goat, you're drinking Bourbon County, and it's great. So while we're there, 2 years ago they tapped a 2012 Bourbon County, and there were 60 plus brewers in line to drink this Bourbon County, just waiting. And I just walked up to the bar and said, "What else you got?" And they said, the bartender literally says, "The best beer we have on draft tonight is this barrel-aged experimental porter." And I said, "I would love to have that." And it was so unbelievably good. And I looked to my right, and there's 60 people waiting for one beer that you can get and that you've had, and it's Bourbon County, and you can find it. And if you want it, you can drink it. Granted, it's aged, it's old, it's fine. But you can wait in that line for that one experience, or you can go to the table next to it and find a really good one.
We've done that, I think, on a number of festivals. But the lot of us on the show, I think, this most recent Fall Beer Fest at Eastern Market was a prime example of other breweries, what they have to offer. I found whenever I go to a festival, I rarely ever go to the same brewery twice. I went to the same brewery twice. They have the same. I forgot what it was. I'm not sure it was a brown ale or something like that. I went there twice.
Was it aberrant? Because
No, it was,
seasonal depression that they had was
147?
really fucking good. Yes.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
That's not. I don't think it's 147.
No,
it's
it's-
the,
734?
No, it's not 734.
Give me I have it. I wrote it down.
Yeah, it's actually on our website. If you go to betterondraft.com, you can look at the blog, which is written by Ed Norton every single week. He has a little bit of different things every single time. He talks about brewery reviews, beer reviews. He did a Black Friday over at Pigeon Hill recently, which he covered. So
He's also a great actor, and I appreciate the fact that he's involved here.
127.
So it's
127.
Edwin Norton, not Edward Norton.
Oh, I
They're-
was going to
they're-
say, we don't need to talk American history. X Edward Norton because he can call me.
The 127 vanilla porter. Went
Even
there
now?
twice to get that beer.
Even after the Hulk?
Never done that at any other festival.
He can always call me.
Too many good beers. Other good beers.
Well, and that's especially for beer festivals. I always tell people look for the shortest line, and you'll be able to not only get a beer, but you'll be able that person will want to talk to you about that beer. They'll tell you exactly how it was made, and you'll get to hear so many stories about those breweries. So the first time I ever went to the fall festival, this was probably 2010, 2011. And it was definitely it was even earlier because this was when you would buy tickets at breweries. So you'd have to go to Dragon Mead to buy the ticket or Rochester Mills
was that
to
the
buy
year
the
you
ticket.
and
I bought
went
mine
for
at
the first
Koonin.
time?
Yes. Yeah, at Koonin. So I had the tickets were available all up until that day for that just Saturday only. There was no Friday. And I would always there was one year where I simply went IPA to IPA to IPA just to try to like IPAs. It didn't work. Big mistake anyways. But go for those short lines. Go for those breweries because usually, for the most part, unless a bunch of people call off hungover and you get called in to pour for them, Kaylan.
What?
What, you've never called me to pour for you?
Oh, I wasn't hungover.
I know
though.
you
I
weren't.
was
You were
organizing
there.
the event.
It was
but
me
I-
and Jeff over there
Okay.
from at that time
No, I
M4. Now it's Sellerman's.
So
Yes.
what's interesting to this point is that, as you said, as you can open this with, that Founders typically does have a line, but for fall and summer, we made the decision this year to eliminate time tappings, and that we were just simply going to have enough product. So we upped our pars on beers like CBS, we upped our pars on KBS and things like that, and the real specialties that we're going to bring, and just said gates are open. We don't want lines. We want everyone to have this, and it's worked because we're not looking at a line. There's small lines will form and as naturally they do, but there's not 200 people standing in line for CBS. But those 200 people are going to get it anyway.
So you said
at
for
their leisure
summer and
fall.
fall.
We did that.
So
this
what
year.
about the winter? Do you plan on doing time?
I don't have any control over that.
Yeah, that's the West Michigan.
I don't plan those. I don't plan northern and West Michigan stuff. So
Do you guys have you guys been to the UP festival before?
I have. It's awesome.
I have not.
So I've been told by nearly everyone I talk to that the UP festival is one of the best festivals to attend. And I disagree with you, but we'll continue. I've learned that
Have you been?
Oh, I have.
Okay.
I went with him. Maybe that was why.
Yeah, true
It's-
story.
It's
Let's say
great.
you
The
two and
worst.
Dan, right?
Did
No,
you
it's
go
just
the
me
year
and
it
Matt.
rained?
Oh, just you two? Okay.
No, we went
No.
the year after the it rained. I think the
Oh, the
worst part was
Mudfest.
the 9-hour trip.
Okay.
Yeah, the 7-hour trip that turned into 9 thanks to the
Tractor.
the tractor
Tractor
festival.
You did not
So-
think that tractor was sexy.
No, none of them were. So
That song is very innuendoous. If you ever listened to it again.
Innuendo is.
Just got to slow it down a little bit.
No, just
Slow jam.
when
Do
it
you
says,
mean
I
to
think
say that tractor implies something other than a
Exactly.
tractor?
Do you think
Yes.
he's talking about something other than a tractor?
that and the song "She Likes My Big Red Tractor"? Yeah,
I'm just gonna mute you because that's enough country for tonight.
I don't know. what you're
So
getting at.
in regards to the UP Beer Festival, I think it's the favorite festival of those who work in the industry because I think it's the most casual festival out of all the festivals.
It's also the least hot and the least cold.
Fair.
Okay.
Fair. It's on the water. It's gorgeous. It's over on the Ordex and Marquette. It is probably like the most scenic brewery festival you'll ever go to.
Like everybody in the UP is stoned. Everybody.
Yeah.
So they're just like, do I have to wear shoes? Like, cool, I'll be there. Like it's
Oh no!
I have to wear shoes.
They don't wear shoes to begin with.
right. That's what I mean.
Like there's 2 rules in the UP. Number 1, shoes, meh. Number 2, if it's not paved, you can drink on it while driving. Like you only get DUIs on
that's just in the
paved
UP?
roads. Well, I mean, it's like heavily UP. Like,
Oh, okay.
It's here because
There's only one cop like in the whole peninsula. It's not.
Yeah, I mean,
Apparently, they
so
found
true.
me in
They came up with a bush
2004
light.
when I drove to Michigan Tech. Pulled me over.
Damn.
75 and a
plate.
50 or 55.
I have already volunteered for UP Fall Beer Fest, so
It's a good time.
I may actually try to go, but it's fun. It quite literally kicked my shoes off and walked around in a field and drank beer in Marquette, and it was great.
What was that game we played?
Coob.
Coob. There you
I
go.
bought that for a housewarming friend for one of my friends. Or a housewarming
And
gift of one of
shout
my
out to
friends.
Black Rocks because I love that brewery.
yes.
You also get to go to Black Rocks while you're there, and it's great.
Super small.
I think we were
though.
just like, man,
Very, very
let's
small.
get Taco
We
Pessimist.
Bell. We were done.
we went a little hard.
A little hard.
A lot of hard. We also bought beer to drink at the hotel.
Which we had like one of each.
Yeah, we barely drank. That was one of those like we went to bed after the festival, woke up, and in my head I'm like, we could probably drive home right now instead of staying the night. And Matt's like, no, we're staying the night. Like for me, like that would have been I'm just gonna drive home. If it was just me, I would have probably, even though I had a hotel,
Yeah,
I would
I
have
had a
still
bed.
driven home. So you like Ye Old Saloon over
do.
in Royal
I
Oak?
do.
What's your go-to drink that's not beer?
Straight bourbon.
Straight bourbon.
Yeah.
Any-
That's what I'm drinking.
I bought a
here.
George T. Stagg yesterday. So
Which is
Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. The most money I've ever spent on a single bottle of liquid in my life.
And how
There's
much?
Buffalo Trace in the lobby.
I'd rather
He's
not
hungry.
say.
you know what was interesting was
Would it
is
taste
that
better out of a Stormtrooper head decanter?
Oh, absolutely. What doesn't?
It goes
there
without
was
saying.
so I actually looked at, if you've never been, One Eyed Betty's over in Ferndale, their whiskey, scotch, and
That's where I
bourbon
got started.
list.
I used to work there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We'll talk more later.
Sure.
So they actually, if you look at their beers and look at their double, or not their beers, excuse me, their liquors and look at their doubles are only like 20 to 30% markup in regards to what their single is. So you go in, you get a 1.25 ounce pour of a whiskey for $17, but your 2 ounce pour is $20. So you're better off drinking doubles while you're there.
Better off getting wasted.
Yeah, not even necessarily getting wasted. You're probably there to enjoy for the drinks that you're buying there.
I
'cause
do often
they've got,
point them out as the second best selection in Ferndale to the Oakland for bourbons.
Fair.
The Oakland has, I mean, they may have the best selection not in the city of Detroit, so it's hard to compare anybody else than the Oakland. But yeah, Betty's has a great bourbon selection. If you
I was gonna say-
and Scotch, if you their Scotch selection to me, I'm not a huge Scotch fan, but a few that I know, friends that I have that are, say that that's the go-to place for Scotch.
What about you, Kaylan? What's your non-beer drink of choice? Is it the gin and tonics? Is it the
It really depends on the day and my mood. but
everything
I've been-
depends on your mood?
I've been.
So how
gin and
about
tonic,
today,
if it's-
December 14th, 8:55 p.m. We got 5 minutes to go before the show's over. Your mood right now is
I'm drinking the Buffalo Trace I found in your lobby.
the
out
Buffalo
of a solo
Trace.
cup.
Hey, that's.
Oh, you fancy, huh?
You know, pinkies up.
I mean, there are glassware out there. Should you have wanted it?
Oh, I
but
didn't see it. I just saw the solo cups, so I just went right for it.
There's snacks out there. There's sodas.
Yeah,
there's
but there's
mixers. There's
I did have some cheese and some beef jerky. It was great.
that is the one thing I really do enjoy about this studio.
Beef
is
jerky?
I
love beef jerky.
I do. It's one of the few things that I can eat that's in the studio because I can't eat anything that has carbs. So no pretzels, no chips, no, like one little bag
Onions.
of Cheez-Its is more carbs that I can have in one day. Just that little bag of Cheez-Its,
You
the
can't
single
even
pack.
have a banana.
No, I can't.
No.
No, I probably could have a banana.
You going keto?
But yeah, I am. I've dropped 50 pounds officially as
Congrats,
of this
buddy.
It
morning
looks great.
since
Yes.
mid-August.
Congrats.
Well, thank you. So I've got another, I would say 80 some odd pounds to go, but yeah,
It's a marathon, not a
All right.
sprint.
We're gonna buy tailored suits when he does.
Oh, nice.
So,
I like
but
it.
but the goal is to get down there and then obviously reintroduce
I
regular
picture the tuxedo scene from Step Brothers where you're like, we're here to fuck shit up.
No, more. I'm thinking more of the twins from
Oh yeah, now
from
we're
Danny
talking.
DeVito and
Yeah,
Schwarzenegger.
yeah. That's good.
So, well, speaking of suits, like I went for Nick's wedding recently. Congratulations, Nick. You are married.
Yeah.
I went to get my suit fitted for him, and a year ago, I had been to the same place for another friend, and I had dropped sizes and everything. And like when you get that, that's the kind of thing that's like, oh, okay, it's work, because you see yourself
Yeah.
every day, and you're like, you
It's-
don't notice it. Like I didn't notice myself gaining weight, but the scale noticed for
But
sure.
to say it's funny. You, the same friend you just talked about, Chris.
Yep.
And me, I actually went down one size from his wedding to my wedding.
You did?
Yeah. Well, it's not showing right now.
And what?
What microphone is he on? Oh, kick this kid's ass. Piece of shit.
That's why we're here. We're here to have fun. What other beer do we have? We've got. Did we open up all the founders?
We got a
beers?
Diet Verner's.
Oh, you know what? Hold on one second.
Hey, don't ever talk bad about Diet
don't-
Verner's.
I love regular Verner's. So
Don't ever talk bad about Diet
Cherry old brewing.
no. We're gonna save that for sure.
I will save it.
I'm gonna run to the refrigerator real quick because we've got.
Got a bunch of powder stuff, breakfast stout.
Ooh, that's old back-
backwood
that's old
bastard.
That's an
backwards,
old
too.
backwards
That's
bastard.
old
old
breakfast out
backwards.
too.
So I'm gonna
That's a
pass
red
this off
label.
to Matt. Matt will continue what's going on. I'm gonna run to the refrigerator real quick.
Uh-oh.
So let's talk about Founders Detroit, can we?
Cool. Yeah.
So what's going on there? I know you guys just had your 1-year anniversary.
Correct. Yeah. It's exciting.
Where are you guys in Detroit?
We are between Cass and Third on Charlotte Street, directly behind the Masonic Temple.
Okay, so Midtown, New Center.
That is Newtown. That is Midtown.
It is Midtown. Yeah, it's kind of no man's land actually. It is 2 physical streets away from Little Caesars Arena, so it's pretty easy to get to from there. But
So how has I know it's been received great because
Yeah.
everybody goes there. Everyone bitches about their mug club. You guys just lost a ton of mugs.
we lost 200 mugs.
What happened?
2 shelves collapsed and took a lot of mugs with them.
So all that money for beer, no engineering.
Well, and yeah, no kidding, right? That every brewery in America, that should be their byline. It's thankfully we're at mug renewal right now, so all of those mugs are up for renewal, and they're going to get new ones anyway. But yeah, they lost a lot of mugs.
So what is the Founders Detroit scene? Like, who are you pulling? Where are you pulling it from? There's I think 11 breweries in Detroit proper at this
Right.
point. So it almost seems like it's cannibalizing because they're also picking the same real estate. Like Jolly Pumpkins right there.
Sure.
Motor City Brewing is
Motor
there?
City Brewing Works is a little further north.
But
of
I mean-
but it's in it's
I mean,
Midtown.
It's all.
It's on the same street as
Second
So-
Second
Pumpkin.
Street, Cass.
Are you? Is it basically? Is it? We're going to LCA. We recognize Founders. We're going to go there.
Yeah,
What's
truthfully,
the
so
traffic?
far it's been very event driven because we have such proximity to a place like the Masonic Temple, like Little Caesars Arena. We're walking distance from Comerica Park. We're walking distance from downtown. That it really has been strongly event driven.
Mm-hmm.
If you walked in that place before a Red Wings game, it's packed full of red jerseys, and so I think they're still figuring out what they're going to be on a daily basis. And what they're doing so far is making great beer, which has been exciting. So the brewer there, his name is Andrew, and he's doing an awesome job.
No, it's that stack upside down right there for you. Another thing that you guys did this week is you trolled somebody,
We didn't do
and
that.
you said you were no longer going to call your.
We didn't do
top
that at
selling
all.
beer.
I would like to squash that because I took a personal issue of it.
So it's
Go
no
for
longer
it.
going to be called All Day IPA because you don't want to encourage alcoholism and people drinking.
So I won't
all
call
day.
him out by name, but a person photoshopped a fake article from MLive saying that MLive was, that we had told MLive we're changing the name of All Day IPA. This, I don't care if it resonates or not. All Day is something we take very seriously. It is a considerable amount of our total production and therefore a considerable amount of my paycheck.
Sure.
And so I take this beer very seriously. It's why I brought it today. So I took personal offense and professional offense to somebody going a distance to say that I got what they were doing. It was a joke on the Hopcat crack fries thing. But I
I was
didn't-
wondering where I had heard it from, like this story.
Right.
But go on.
So it was created by someone else. I'm not going to call them out by name, but it had nothing to do with us. We weren't playing a viral marketing game. We weren't playing, check out.
So it's just some troll on the internet
It was
trying
an
to be funny.
absolute
get clicks.
internet troll who made a very convincing looking photograph.
Yeah, I didn't think it was real. I thought it was trolling, but I thought it was, you guys trolling because in the world of business these days, like I don't know why, but Wendy's is trolling everybody. Wendy's literally will troll.
Their social media is hysterical.
I have
Yeah.
no issue with saying this on recording. I personally sent that article to our communications director, who took large issue with it, and then our communications director took it a large step further to make sure to go every step of the way to quash that. So it's not something we laughed at.
Well, maybe you guys will send a nice little C&D, and you guys can put that in the bookcase. You can put that right next to the Mountie C&D that you got, to the libel suit that you sent.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask both of you guys this question. I think it's kind of different. We don't really ask a question like this. Is there's from a higher point at Founders, it's been 2 months for you.
Yes.
It's been 2 years for you.
1 year.
1 year. Is there something that Founders has done, maybe as a brand, as a company, you can take this either way, that surprised you or that's reinforced your belief in the company? Like, hey, you come from Kaylan, you come from Ellison, and you're more used to the small batch independent beer, really bootstrapping the sales of it, and then you go to this company that's the second biggest beer company in the state of Michigan.
Number one.
Number one, excuse me.
Yes.
Bell's is number 2.
But maybe there's something that you talk about more on a business level, and
I'm super curious to hear your answer.
yeah.
2
But
months, 2 months in.
what's something that Founders has done? Maybe just in the market, it might not be they give us really good dental benefits. That's not what I'm looking for. But what's that thing that in the marketplace that you're surprised by, you're impressed by, that you promote, that might not get enough play, in the beer nerd community?
Not get enough play. I'm thinking on this for just a minute.
I have an answer.
You have an answer right away?
I do.
Okay.
I think that there's not a single company in the world that doesn't want to say that they have great employee culture. And this isn't related to beer, and I think that's kind of the answer you're looking for. What kind of marketing? But
I don't know. I don't mean liquid necessarily.
Sure.
We're about the community and the brand of beer. We're not about just thumbs up, thumbs down.
I didn't know from the outside looking in that Founders. I think you could maybe surmise that Founders had good employee culture, that people liked working there, perhaps. But I think I'll give you a great example. My very first day on the job, I walked up this staircase into our offices a little bit nervous about what I was walking into, and a stranger standing at the top of the stairs said, "Hey man, are you family?"
Okay.
And I said, "Like Founders fam?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Yeah, I guess I am." And he stuck his hand out and he shook mine. And that type of a thing for somebody to be warm and welcoming from the moment that you walked in the door is huge. And so there is real, genuine employee culture at Founders.
Do you think that translates to the other side when you're in a bar, and
I think that
you've sold previously for Epic? You
Sure,
said,
yeah. In Great Lakes.
Great Lakes.
Yeah.
Is that a different? I don't want to say. Does it fuel you differently to sell Founders than it does
Totally,
for
100%.
Great Lakes? Or not that the other brands are bad by any means,
Because you're important. You matter. And you're not an employee on the clock. You're somebody that matters. So it's...
Kaylan, you got 2 seconds.
I
All
would
right.
say the exact same thing. The guy who trained me in sales, Chad Atherton, said to me, he's like, we would rather have you at 100% 50% of the time than 100% of the time at 50%. And so they really value our personal lives and our family lives. And I had to take my grandfather to a dentist appointment. Last minute, my uncle couldn't do it. And so I called my boss and said, "Hey, can I take half a day to take my grandfather to a dentist?" He said, "Don't ever call me with a request like this. Family first." That's Founders.
Nice.
Guys, Alex, Kaylan, thank you so much for joining us. I really
This
think
was awesome.
we're going to have to schedule something really, really soon, get you guys back in, continue the conversation.
We'll have the headband and buttons.
I'm trying to earn that jacket. I need that.
No, it's a
5
headband
jacket.
and
Is it-
buttons.
Okay.
I mean, if we invite both of you, that still means you need a +1, so there's got to be a third person to bring.
Okay.
So we'll,
Rack your brain.
Let me
Chad
ponder. Let me
Atherton.
ponder
like-
on that. I got
I'm
some
like,
peeps.
Okay.
so that's going to do it for us. Better on Draft Podcast 158.
Yes.
There we go. I
Thanks,
keep
everybody.
asking.
Right the first time.
I was right the last time too.
Yeah. Beginning of the show, end of the show.
Guys, we are live every single Friday, betterondraft.com. You can find us facebook.com/betterondraft. That's where you can find us live on Facebook. You can see all of our videos on youtube.com/betterondraft. You can find all of our podcasts on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, or no, not on SoundCloud. You can find it everywhere else that podcasts are found. Founders, thank you so much for joining us. Once again, we appreciate it. We love your
pleasure.
beer. If you ever have any more of that Panther Cub, definitely bring it our way.
Send it our way.
I got some.
Okay. All right.
All right.
right.
Next time,
Here we
let's
go.
save it. Let's age it a little.
Yeah, let's
we
see what
we can
happens.
talk more about aging. Our sponsor is the Tuna Liquor over in Rochester Hills, North Center Brewing over in Northville, Michigan. Don't forget to check them out. We appreciate them. And no matter what you think of your beer, we think it's
Oh, it's me? Better on draft.
Better on draft.
better on track. Have a good night.
Peace.